Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Farmer George. On today's episode, I'm going to show you how to make your own cheaper version of potting soil so you don't break the bank when you go out and pot a ton of plants like I'm doing here this year. So let's roll the intro and we'll show you how it's done. So in today's episode, I'm going to show you how I saved approximately $155 this year on creating my own potting soil instead of buying store-bought ready-made potting soil. I decided just to stick to pots this year and predominantly peppers and tomatoes, and I got a melon right there. But long story short, I am planning to plant 35 7-gallon fabric pots. And that requires a ton of soil. So if I were going to go to the store and buy all ready-made, organic, pre-made potting soil, it would cost me almost $385. However, I saved about $155 by making it my own. And I still used Miracle-Gro's organic line. But this one is for raised beds, and it's not for containers or potting mix. So it doesn't have the additives that keep the potting mix, to keep your containers less compact, like they would be in a raised bed, and then certainly they're way more compact in ground. So I said, I'm not going to pay $385 for soil. So I decided to do some research, and what I found was I can add some soil amendments to my soil to make it transform into a potting soil. So the way that works is I'm going to use 4 parts of my raised bed organic Miracle-Gro potting soil, and you can use any raised bed potting soil. Don't use in-ground because that's even more compact and you might have to alter the proportions a little bit. So this is just for raised beds. So this is my organic raised bed this is my organic Miracle-Gro raised bed soil. It has compost and other natural plant foods that are gonna feed my plants up, for a while. The next thing you want to use is sphagnum peat moss, and this is also organic. Everything I'm using is organic, and it was very hard to find, believe it or not. All this stuff is kind of flying off the shelves these days. The sphagnum peat moss really holds onto that moisture and kind of lightens up the texture of the soil of this compact raised bed mix. And I almost forgot, it also holds on to some plant food. So some of the plant food that leaches out of this raised bed mix is going to go into your peat moss, and it's going to slowly release rather than getting washed out if you have like a big rainstorm, because we've been having tons of thunderstorms this July already. And then lastly, I don't know if you can see it, but it's vermiculite. And what that is another soil additive. This is another organic item. It prevents the compaction that you would get in a denser soil like raised bed and certainly in-ground garden soil. It promotes root growth, quicker root growth. It keeps a little bit more air pockets in there, and it gives the roots a little bit more anchoring support. So really good for root health. It also helps retain moisture and plant food. So what I'm going to do is proportions are 4 parts of the raised bed mix, 3 parts of the sphagnum peat moss, and then 1 part of the vermiculite. So, and what I like to do, I already have a Thesaur open, and I just wanted to show you the bag for the label if you want to get it yourself. And again, you can use any organic, you can use any type of soil, but I've chosen to go organic, and that is a little bit more expensive. So if you don't want to go the organic route, you can save a whole lot more money. Even overall. I was just doing the comparison between pre-made potting mix and then making your own. So same thing goes for non-organic. If you choose to go that route, that's fine with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill up this 7-gallon pot right here. I'm going to show you what it looks like after I'm done mixing it in, and then I'll walk you around in my garden because I've done a little bit of transplanting in stages here. So stay tuned after I mix this up and we'll go through that. I got to move to the shade after I do this example for you guys because it's too hot. But anyway, this is my last batch of the 4 parts, 3 parts, 1 part. And I just wanted to show you how to get it all incorporated. It'd be a lot easier, I think, to do this in a wheelbarrow of some sort, but Farmer George does not have a wheelbarrow yet. Next year, when I'm using more of our yard, I'll invest in that. But you can do this in batches like I'm doing here. I already got 2 batches of the mix here going on, and then here's the final batch. And I just wanted to show you how it all gets incorporated. And might be a little too much, but that's okay because the proportions are still the same because I mix it up before I pour it into the final pot. So I can give it a little shake, and it's so light. You saw how much soil we had there, how much mix we had, and it really settles. So that's really nice about this, and it's actually going to be perfect. I want to be careful though that I don't get any off the top. I like to fill it up close to the top just like this because when we water it in, it's going to settle a little bit, and then it's going to shrink down. And I like to get the most out of my my pots that I'm using. If not, I would have used a smaller pot. But this is the finished product, and I'm just using my 2 middle fingers here to pick it up. And this is 7 gallons of soil, and it is not that bad. So let's go take a real quick look at the garden, and then that's it. All right, so I planted the tomatoes first, and you can see that it's just really taken off compared to, there's a little yellow reaper, it's a pepper, and then there's a long Thai red that was even 3rd place to the transplant party. But the tomatoes just overgrew their starting place very quickly compared to the peppers. And the same with the melon, so you can see that plant just taken off. The only real disadvantages of making your own potting mix is, I guess, the time factor, and then supply. It took a lot of time for me to find that sphagnum peat moss. They were out of stock at Lowe's for probably 3 weeks, and I kept going back. Finally double checked with Home Depot, and they had it, so got it at Home Depot. In fact, I got these 2 things, the vermiculite and the peat moss at Home Depot, and then you can get the Miracle-Gro Performance Organics pretty much anywhere. So that's not out, but it's more expensive because it's pre-made, and that's where they get you. So it's time-consuming to do this. It's a little tedious. You might have some trouble finding the organic stuff if that's the route you're going. If not, you might have a better chance because it's more available. Thanks for watching, guys. I apologize for the sweating profusely on camera. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment on some of your techniques that you use in the garden, especially when you're making your own potting soil. And please subscribe if this helps you save some money. I'd love to keep going on this journey with you. As always, I'm Farmer George. Let's share and grow together. See you next time.